only a year left for state assembly elections in Nagaland, Congress suffers a blow as party leader KKA K. Sema resigns from the party. Sema contested on an INC ticket in the 2018 assembly elections from Gaspani 2 constituency. After his departure from Congress, retired IAS officer turned politician K.K. Sema, sharing his own view on Naga political issues, says NSCNIM wants to control the whole policy system within the state of Nagaland. He also states that Nagas have been completely dominated, destroyed with illegal taxation, the fractions imposed on people. Nagaland State Legal Service Authority on Thursday launches a NLSA helpline number in order to enable the public to reach out for legal aid and services through the free toll number. Free legal services entail the provision of free legal aid in civil and criminal matters for poor and marginalized people. Nagaland School Education Department in a notification reminds all the DEOs, SDEO and school heads of government elementary schools regarding changes made in uniforms. Uniform for boys changed from grey trousers to navy blue trousers, while same in class skirts, in case skirts for class and long sleeve sky blue shirts for both boys and girls. Bharatiya Janata Party leader Tongam Biswajit Singh on Thursday refuses to comment on speculations doing the rounds about him in the race for the next chief minister of the state. Biswajit says Manipur BJP is not divided and central leadership will take the final call on the issue. Poland's Caroline Belaswaka crowned as Miss World 2021 in the pageant held in Puerto Rico. India's Manasa Varanasi failed to make it to the top 6 and makes it to top 13 contestant list at the 11th position. Hello viewers, a warm welcome to English Primetime News. This is Nltv. Now let's have a look at the details. Former Gaspani 2 candidate KKA K. Sema announced his resignation from the Nagaland Pradesh Congress Committee. In a letter to the NPCC president, KKA draws back to 2018 when he decided to contest for the elections under the banner of NPCC despite keeping in mind the fact that Congress was not performing well but because of his firm belief that it was and is the only national party that has withstood the test of time in acknowledging secularism, joined the party. However, the ground reality was different and that Congress didn't have a solid grassroots leveling, and therefore he said that there is a serious need to create a grassroots working mechanism where people work in different zones and create the momentum for the party. But those activities are not known, and the only people that are clustered around the party are the president, the general secretary, and thus he got distracted and did not favor the environment to work in, so he resigned from the party. But he wished luck to the party and hopes for the party to improve. He lastly stated that he does not intend to join politics or join hands with any other party or contest election in the future.
Any organization that wants to succeed must be led in a proper structural way where leadership is conscious of exactly what is going on and the reason why we are failing. All of these particular aspects of governance within the party itself is a very important thing. Now, unfortunately, in a simple way, I would say that, well, the people who are more ready to be loyal to the leadership are the ones who are put in position. And you see, when you put it in the simple terms, you call it nepotism and psychophancy, when everybody is so, everything you say is yes, And then when people who think differently come into the fray, the leadership is not happy with those people who would object to one thing or the other that doesn't do well for the party. And so it's very, very difficult, because for me, I'm more than prepared to appreciate what is done well, and I do not have the patience for something that is not upright. And when this loyalist and the psychophancy kind of things take over the organization, I find it very, very uncomfortable. And so I decided let them carry on the way they are doing, but from the perspective of a party having to grow in a state like Nagaland when it is so stupidly corrupted, we do not even have the proper grassroots workers, And the time when I had gone into the election myself, I thought Congress would have that solid grassroots networking, but the reality was entirely different. And therefore, there is a serious need to create a grassroots working mechanism where you get good people to work in various zones and create the momentum for the party.
KK Sema, while speaking on the Naga political issue, stated that if a state as a whole wants to grow, the focus should be intensely on the grassroots level. However, all the focus have been tilted towards Delhi. He stated that Nagas have been completely dominated and lives have been destroyed with the consistent unreasonable taxation which the fractions have been imposing on the people, and therefore everyone wants an early solution. He also stated that NSC and IM shares half truth and keeps the other half hidden. As far as Government of India is concerned, KK Sema mentioned that IM has signed 2 clauses, that is, that the state of Nagaland will stop to exist and there will be an organization, namely the Pan-India Ho-Ho. IM has shifted the cultural body definition to that of more authoritative kind of an organization, going to the extent of saying that in the Naga nation, NSC and IM will be the upper house and the lower house will be the elected representatives, and the Pan-Naga Ho-Ho will nominate a member into the upper house, whereas lower house will be the elected representatives and bills will not be approved by the upper house. He also went ahead to say that IM wants to control the whole policy system within the state of Nagaland, and that Nagaland will become a common homeland for all Nagas and share privileges of job and other opportunities, enjoy privileges in their own region and also be entitled to enjoy privileges in Nagaland. Looking at that, KK Sema stated that the young generations will suffer by the decisions planned out by the NSC and IM, because for NSC and IM, what is theirs, but what is ours will become theirs as well. However, NNPS have clearly made public as to what they want from Government of India, where the NSC and IM is not making public what they are demanding from the Government of India. Hence, the people of Nagaland must stand up and demand the NSC and IM to show us what their competency causes before signing the final agreement.
Nagas have been completely dominated and lives have been destroyed with this consistency of unreasonable taxation that the factions have been imposing on our people. And therefore, I can understand that the totality of the masses, having suffered for so long, now wants an early solution, and that is the common feeling. Everybody is having this. You see, but the one thing that I would like our Naga people to sit down quietly and very carefully assess what I'm about to say, because I'm not making conjectures, I'm not going to say anything fictitious, but something that is concretely on the ground, okay? The issues on the ground where I feel the Nagas of Nagaland and people are brothers from beyond the state of Nagaland feel bad when I say Nagas of Nagaland. But the fact of the matter is, when the whole negotiation is revolving around a big picture called the bigger Naga limb, as I am used to call it, you see, it is all a picture of unreality. No, it's not real. You see, firstly, you talk of sovereignty. The government of India, in the framework agreement also, talk about the shared sovereignty, two identities, and so on and so forth.
Nagaland State Legal Services Authority on Thursday launched the NSLSA helpline number during a short program held at the state office in Kohima in the presence of project officials. Notably, the helpline number is initiated in order to enable the public across the state and interior region covering rural areas to reach out for legal aid and services through the toll-free number, that is 1-800-3453-883. Furthermore, the free legal service entails the provision of free legal aid in civil and criminal matters for poor and marginalized people who cannot afford the services of a lawyer. Meanwhile, the NSLSA also informed that free legal services also included provisions of aid and advice to beneficiaries to access benefits under welfare statuses and schemes framed by the central or state government and to ensure access to justice in any other manner. Nagaland School Education Department, through a notification, has reminded all the DEOs, SDEO and school heads of government elementary schools that the department has changed school uniform for government elementary school children from grey trousers to navy blue trousers for boys, grey skirts to navy blue skirts for girls, and white skirts to long sleeve sky blue skirt for both boys and girls to improve the standard of school uniform being worn by the students and also to ensure the students are dressed appropriately and with dignity. It is reported that some school heads are still forcing their students to procure and wear all school uniforms, contradicting departmental notification, which the department has viewed seriously. Furthermore, the notification directed all the school heads to strictly implement school uniforms introduced by the department, and no children should be asked to purchase school uniforms at any cost, as it is the responsibility of the central and the state government to provide free school uniform to all the children studying in government schools or till completion of elementary education. Notably, disciplinary action will be initiated on violation of the notification. Dimapur Municipal Council, in collaboration with environmentalist Ronika Miyachio, repaired road dividers in Dimapur City Tower which were partly damaged earlier. Notably, the dividers are being made up of boulders instead of bricks, as it gets damaged easily. It is to be mentioned that Miyachio is not only contributing her efforts for the divider but also for the waste management in the city of Dimapur. It may also be mentioned that the repairing work of the divider started 2 days ago and will continue till next week. She further requested the public not to litter in the road dividers and also appealed the dividers to be cautious while driving.
Aji ete mohan DMC logode miligena collaborate kurigena ete repairing dividers khan kurubole ola ase aru ete poila de bricks pra banai rakha to bishi bak to gari pra bhangai de itu bar boulder dhaligena design kurubogena apni ange appeal kro the public ke morom bra gari chola time de kon hoile bi drivers ka nijola property ase koigena take care kule bishi khushi pabo ahigena moi laga no hoy government la se guna na bhangai dile bishi khushi pabo, because every time bana it's a waste of our money only. Government karni bi morom kurigena apni han itu ভাল বা টেক কেয়াৰ গুছি গ'লে ঈশ্বৰ বি আমি হাংগেটো ব্লেছ কৰিব আৰু মৰম
Dimapur Municipal Council, in collaboration with At Better Dimapur, cleaned and beautified a police point over bridge near Chabra Pali, Dimapur. However, it was seen that the civilians were littering the overbridge with no concern for the cleanliness and beautification which has been going on since past few days. It may be mentioned that the lack of civic sense is a major concern in Nagaland, and the tireless efforts by DMC and Better Dimapur has been ignored. Hence, the DMC and Better Dimapur has set up CCTV surveillances in the area to keep an eye on the defaulters who are to be exposed on social media platforms. The DMC and Better Dimapur also urged the colony union to look into the matter.
আমি এখন বেটার ডিমাপুর আছে আন্ডার ডিএমসি তো আমি এখন এই গার্বেজ এরিয়া ফেকা জায়গা তো আমি এখন ফর দ্য পাস্ট 4-5 days মহান কাম করে আছে তো আমি এখন কাম করে থাকা তো এই গার্বেজ এরিয়া তো আমি এখন সাফা করে আছে বিউটিফাই করলে আছে হলে বি তো প্রবলেম নাও একটা প্রবলেম ওলাই আছে এটা লোকালিটিস এই কলোনি এরিয়া খান লাগা গার্বেজ ফেকাও তো বেশি ওলা এটা ফেকাই দিয়ে আমি সাফা করি না আছে আমি সাফা করে দিয়া আছে হলে বি বেশি ওলা তো আহি কিনা লেতেরা তো এদের সাম দে নহলে বি মহান কাম করি না যা বেশি দে আৰু মহান নাহেগে দে বেশি ওলা আহি কিনা লেতেরা তো এদের ফেকাই দিয়ে আৰু বেশি ওলা তো নন লোকালস খান বেশি থাকে এটা এনা সামান লেতেরা ফেকাই দিয়ে তো আমি গ্রিন নেট বি লাগাই না আছে তো নেট লাগাই
The medical department, led by CMO Office Kohima, is undertaking the NCD screening under Social Health Responsibility campaign in urban colonies of Kohima district. It is to be mentioned that the campaign was held on Thursday at New Market Panchayat Hall, Bayavu Sub-Center Midland Panchayat Hall and Lower Chantmari Panchayat Hall. During the campaign, the colony authorities mobilized the age group of 30 years with known or unknown comorbid status, pregnant women, and 30 years of age with a known comorbid disease for NCD screening and medical intervention. The identified patients were screened for non-communicable diseases, comorbid diseases, and were given free medication through National Urban Health Mission. Meanwhile, the CMO Kohima requested all the ward chairmen or authorities to cooperate and take responsibility in their respective colonies as per the session plan for the successful conduct of the campaign. Nagaland University on Thursday held its 5th convocation ceremony in Dimapur district. Notably, Governor Professor Jagdish Mukhi graced the ceremony as the chief guest, while Higher Education and Tribal Affairs Minister Timchan Imna Alung and Rajiv Gandhi University, Arunachal Pradesh's Vice Chancellor Professor Saket Kushwana graced in as the special guest. Assessment camp for children with special needs was held at Tobu Town on Thursday. Notably, around 300 children from both government and private schools turned up for the various health checkup that was under the camp. It may be mentioned that even children not going to school attended the assessment camp. The main purpose, initiated by Samagra Shiksha in collaboration with Health and Family Welfare Department of Delhi, was to assist the differently abled children under Tobu area. The program was conducted by Samagra Shiksha in convergence with Health and Family Welfare Department, TBORC and Sound Beats Delhi. National Vaccination Day was observed on Wednesday to create awareness and consciousness on the importance of vaccination. Nagaland observed the National Vaccination Day with the theme, Vaccines Work for All. Along with International Vaccination Day, the day also commemorates Pulse Polio program of the Government of India, thus commemorating India's triumph against polio. To mark the day, the best performing healthcare workers were facilitated by the Department of Health Health and Family Welfare Nagaland. In Kohima, the National Vaccination Day was observed at the Conference Hall of Chief Medical Officer Kohima and the CMO Kohima, Dr. Vizoko Lotio, educated the masses on the Corbevax vaccine for the children aged between 12 to 14 years. She further stated that the vaccines are available only in government COVID-19 vaccination centers. Former Manipur Minister and Bharatiya Janata Party leader Thongam Biswajit Singh on Thursday refused to comment on speculations doing the rounds about him in the race for the next Chief Minister of the state. Speaking to media persons, Biswajit Singh said that he does not want to comment on the reports that he is in the race to become the next Chief Minister of Manipur. He also said that there is no groupism within Manipur PJP. He added that PJP is a democratic party and leadership will decide the Chief Minister issue. Meanwhile, Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh visited Delhi and met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah to discuss the formation of the new government in the state. Biren Singh, who arrived in the national capital on Tuesday, also met Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Nami Rakpam Loken Singh on Wednesday resigned as Manipur Pradesh Congress Committee President, taking responsibility for the defeat of party candidates in the recently held assembly elections. He tendered his resignation a day after Congress interim President Sonia Gandhi asked for the resignations of party chiefs of all 5 states where polls were held. Loken, who took charge as party president last year, was defeated by PJP's Basanta Kumar Singh in the assembly polls. The Congress managed to secure only 5 seats in the 60-member Manipur Assembly. In the 2017 election, it was the largest party with 28 seats. Punjab's newly elected MLAs, including Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann, took oath on members of the Legislative Assembly on Thursday. The newly elected MLAs were administered the oath of office and secrecy by Pro Tem Speaker Dr. Inderbir Singh Nijjar. This comes a day after Mann took oath as the Chief Minister of Punjab on March 16. AAP recorded a landslide victory in the recently concluded Punjab Assembly polls, winning 92 seats, sidelining most of its rivals. Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann on Thursday announced that an anti-corruption helpline will be launched in the state on Sahit Diwas on the Martyrdom Day of Bhagat Singh, that is on March 23. The newly elected Chief Minister said that people will be able to lodge complaints against corruption via WhatsApp. Mann in his video message told that it will be his personal WhatsApp number. He further urged people to send recording of video or audio clip if anyone asked them for a bribe. The newly elected Chief Minister assured that a strict action will be taken against the corrupt and corruption will no longer work in Punjab. The step can be anticipated as Aam Aadmi Party-led Punjab government's first step towards fulfilling the promises which it had met during the run-up to the state assembly polls. A corruption-free government and controlling drug menace in the state that shares a border with Pakistan. Former Indian off-spinner Harbhajan Singh could follow the steps of his illustrious teammate Sachin Tendulkar as a member of parliament in the Rajya Sabha, as he is likely to be Aam Aadmi Party's candidate for a seat in the upper house. Aam Aadmi Party, after sweeping the polls in Punjab, formed the new government with Bhagwant Mann being sworn in as the Chief Minister on Wednesday, and accordingly, reports AAP is eyeing to send an icon from the state to the upper house of parliament, and one of the foremost names seems to have emerged in that of 41 years old off spinner. As per sources, the top leadership of AAP, including the new Chief Minister, has approached Harbhajan Singh with an offer to become their nominated candidate for next Rajya Sabha term. Harbhajan, who has taken over 700 wickets in an international career spanning over 18 years, recently retired from active sport. Following the pool debacle of Congress in 5 states and a row and accountability over leadership, senior Congress leader and member of dissident G23 group of leaders met at senior Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad's residence on Wednesday night. After the meeting concluded, the G23 leader said that the only way forward for the party is to adopt the model of collective and inclusive leadership and decision making at all levels. The joint statement of Congress G23 leaders demanded the Congress party to initiate dialogue with others like-minded forces to create a platform to pave the way for a credible alternative for 2024. The statement said that the meeting was called to inform the rest of the members about the discussion held in the Congress Working Committee and to decide on a further strategy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday addressed the valedictory function of the 96th Command Foundation course at Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration via video conferencing. Modi, while speaking, the congregation suggested to include courses on artificial intelligence and data governance at LBSNAA for future generations. Furthermore, Modi urged the trainee civil servants to focus on the biggest goal of the 21st century, Atmanirbhar Bharat and modern India, and asked them to reform, perform and transform to the next level. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Thursday inaugurated a 7-story building that was constructed in record 45 days for the homegrown 5th-generation fighter aircraft program. The Defence Research and Development Organisation used in-house development hybrid technology for the construction of the flight control system complex at Aeronautic Development Establishment in Bangalore. Congratulating everyone involved in the project, Singh said that it is no less than a miracle since it used to take years to complete such a project. The complex will be used to house R&D facilities for the indigenous development of advanced medium combat aircraft and other manned and unmanned aircraft. The multi-storied infrastructure consists of conventional, pre-engineered and precast methodology. Congress President Sonia Gandhi on Wednesday engaged 5 senior leaders to assess the post-poll situation in 5 states and suggest organizational changes following its electoral debacle a day after the state unit chiefs were asked to resign. Rajya Sabha MP Rajani Patil has been asked to assess the situation in Goa, Jairam Hamesh in Manipur and Ajay Makhan in Punjab, where the Congress lost power to the Aam Aadmi Party. Congress leader Jitendra Singh to assess the post-poll situation in Uttar Pradesh and suggest changes, while Avinash Pandey has been asked to do so in Uttarakhand. The Congress fared poorly in the just concluded assembly elections by failing to win back any of the BJP-ruled states of Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Goa and Manipur and losing Punjab to the Aam Aadmi Party. The Congress Working Committee had discussed the reasons for the poll debacle and authorized Sonia Gandhi to initiate necessary changes in these states after the dropping. Mrs. Gandhi on Tuesday had asked the chiefs of its Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Goa and Manipur units to submit their resignations. The Bharatiya Janata Party is planning a grand swearing-in ceremony in Lucknow for Yogi Adityanath to take the charge of new government in Uttar Pradesh on March 21 after 3 p.m. The party is preparing a list of invitees for the event, which is likely to take place at Ikana Stadium. As many as 45,000 people and 200 VVIPs are likely to attend the swearing-in of Adityanath government. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP's National President JP Naga, Union Ministers Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah and others, Chief Ministers of BJP ruled states and some prominent leaders including from the opposition will be invited. On day 22 of Ukraine invasion, Russia invasion of Ukraine, the warfare continues, resulting several incidents of attacks and casualty reported. At least one person was killed and 3 wounded after remains of a downed missile hit a residential building in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. In another development, Ukrainian military forces have dealt a punishing blow to the airport in Kherson, which Russian troops had seized early in the war. Ukraine's military said it hit the airport on Tuesday. Russia seized the southern port city without a fight in the first days of the war. On the other hand, Russian forces destroyed a theater in the city of Manipur, where hundreds of people were sheltering. Local officials say missile strikes and shelling have killed more than 2,300 people. The southern seaport has been under attack for almost all of the 3 weeks war in a siege that has left people struggling for food, water, heat and medicine. Emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council has been called at 12:30 a.m. on Thursday night Indian time to discuss the humanitarian situation in Ukraine. The meeting comes following a request by 6 countries, including the United Kingdom, United States, France, Albania, Ireland and Norway. UK's permanent mission to the UN remarked that Russia is committing war crimes and targeting civilians. Russia's illegal war on Ukraine is a threat to them and for which the 6 countries have called for a meeting. Poland's Karolina Buszleska has been crowned as the 78th Miss World on Thursday, while Indian-American Sri Saini from the United States was announced as the first runner-up and Olivia Yasse from Cote d'Ivoire was the second runner-up. The International Beauty Pageant, which is also the longest-running pageant, took place on March 17, first at Coca-Cola Museum Hall, Puerto Rico. It is to be mentioned that the finale, which was to take place in December, got postponed due to the outbreak of coronavirus. A 7.4 magnitude earthquake hit northeast Japan on Wednesday night, killing 4 people and almost 97 others were injured, causing a 1-meter tsunami in the Miyagi prefecture. Local electricity providers said that around 7 lakh homes in Tokyo and 1,56,000 in Japan's northeast region had lost power immediately after the earthquake hit. Nuclear authorities said that no abnormalities had been detected at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant site, which is being decommissioned. Meteorological agency earlier on Thursday lifted a low-risk advisory. So viewers, that's a wrap in English Primetime News. Keep watching Nagaland TV for more news and updates.
Nagaland TV, Sop Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on Geo TV and on your television sets as well. For Dimapur viewers, we are on channel number 10 in Global Chapter, and for Kohima and Mokokchung viewers, switch to channel number